Nobody told Crawford to say anything. Crawford's his own man doing his own thing, and that's how he feels. And we'll see how this thing plays out in the next couple of years.
Dana White is leaving no doubt about where he stands in the war between Terence Crawford and the boxing establishment. He has been vocal and direct, shutting down the rumors that Crawford's refusal to pay a $300,000 sanctioning fee was a scripted move orchestrated by the UFC. He's made it clear that Crawford is his own man and that this rebellion is 100% authentic. This isn't just a dispute over a belt, it's an open indictment of the entire boxing system. And Dana White is making sure everyone knows that the checkmate is real. After defeating Canelo, Crawford refused the WBC's $300,000 sanctioning fee, realizing he was essentially being asked to rent his own legacy rather than earn it. The WBC retaliated by stripping him of the title, exposing a paradox where the official champion is no longer the actual best fighter in the world. Crawford responded with a venomous Instagram rant, telling President Mauricio Sulaiman to keep the strap and dismissing the world title as just a trophy. He ultimately devalued the organization by noting that the prestigious Ring magazine belt is free, proving that he has become bigger than the belts themselves.
And guess what? It's free! It's free! How you love that? $180,000 free. How much your belt cost? I wonder, how much your belt cost? Huh? I don't see no receipts on your belt. It's crazy. Y'all be having so much taxes on these belts. You got some nerves. It's crazy that you can sit up there and have all these belts. You know, you got the WBC silver, the WBA intern, the whatever belt y'all got, and you taxing these fighters every time they fight, and you claim that you for these fighters. You're not for these fighters. You probably worse than the promoters. But hey, I wish you the best.
While the boxing establishment was panicking, Dana White was at the UFC 323 post-fight press conference looking like the cat that got the cream. On December 6th, the media immediately pressed him on the situation. The rumor mill had been spinning for days, suggesting that Dana White and his partners at TKO were the ones whispering in Crawford's ear, telling him to rebel against the system to destabilize boxing.
Turkey, I hope y'all get that done, man. I hope y'all get that done so we can all see, you know, people face like this guy, you know, go away from boxing because they ruin the sport with all these antics that they do. You know, they got they ranking systems when people be mandatories for years, like Benavidez. You know, they don't strip these fighters, but I give credit to the IBF. They stripped me. They ain't even give me time. They stripped me, pop me, even though I wasn't, you know, coming back down the weight, but you know, they handled their business. They did what they were supposed to do. The WBC, you ain't never see them strip no Canelo for the Benavidez. He was what, mandatory for like 2 years? It's crazy. But you know, that's that favoritism shit.
Dana didn't shy away from it, but he did clear the air on one specific detail. He firmly stated, nobody told Crawford to say anything. Crawford is his own man, doing his own thing, and that's how he feels. But listen to the subtext here. Dana didn't criticize Crawford for breaking tradition. He defended him. He framed Crawford's outburst not as a mistake, but as a moment of clarity. Dana has been saying for years that the boxing model is broken, and now the top boxer in the world is proving him right on a global stage. Dana's smile said more than his words ever could. The UFC model doesn't have sanctioning fees, and he knows fighters are starting to notice.
Boxing's starting to fall apart. You know, once there was so much money involved and it got so big, guys started ducking other guys. Then you got the sanctioning bodies in there. We think this guy's the champ. We think this guy's the champ. And then none of those guys would fight each other. That's when it all started to fall apart and break.
This is where things get a little deeper and more conspiratorial. During that same press conference, Dana dropped a cryptic comment about the Ali Act, the federal law designed to protect boxers from exploitative promoters. Dana lashed out at the current crop of boxing promoters, calling them hypocrites. He said, "I love that all these boxing guys love the Ali Act the way it is now. I want to see how many of them actually stay there. I fucking guarantee you they won't."
What did you think of the WBC stripping Terence Crawford of his belt?
Listen, if you look at how this thing's playing out, and first of all, let me say this. I love that all these guys, all these boxing guys, love the Ali Act the way it is now. I want to see how many of them actually stay there and do that version of the Ali Act instead of the add-on that we're going to do. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a fucking rocket scientist to see what's going on with all these guys. They're all these guys that are crying the loudest are the fucking problems. They're the problem, every one of these guys. And, Crawford, nobody told Crawford to say anything. Crawford's his own man doing his own thing, and that's how he feels. And we'll see how this thing plays out in the next couple of years.
Are you surprised by this frosty reception from the other boxing promoters?
No, not at all. Not at all. But here's the thing that's great for fighters is that...
What does that mean? Dana is hinting that the very people crying about fighter rights are the ones bleeding these fighters dry with fees, commissions, and sanctioning costs. He's positioning the current boxing structure not as a protector of athletes, but as a parasitic system. By backing Crawford's refusal to pay, Dana is highlighting a massive flaw in the sport. Everyone gets paid before the fighter does. The sanctioning bodies, the promoters, the managers. Dana's warning was ominous. He believes that as the business evolves, these old-school promoters are going to flee the moment the Ali Act stops benefiting their bank accounts.
That they have options, you know? All these promoters are saying the Ali Act is perfect and this is the way it should be. I want to see them all stay in it. I want every one of them to stay in the Ali Act as it is now for the next however many years. I fucking guarantee you they won't.
We can't talk about this situation without addressing the elephant in the room, Zuffa Boxing. While Crawford isn't officially signed to a long-term deal with Zuffa, the boxing arm of the UFC's parent company, his fight against Canelo was promoted under that umbrella with the backing of Turki Al-Sheikh. This connects Crawford to the new era of boxing, a group that has billions of dollars and zero patience for the old way of doing things. The theory circulating in the back rooms is that this is a coordinated stress test. If the biggest star, Crawford, refuses to pay the fees and suffers no consequences in terms of popularity or pay, the sanctioning bodies lose all their leverage. If Zuffa and TKO can put on mega fights without needing the WBC's permission or their green belt, the WBC becomes obsolete. Dana White isn't just defending a fighter, he's watching the potential collapse of his competition's business model. He didn't have to tell Crawford to say it, because the environment Zuffa is building empowers fighters to realize they don't need these three-letter organizations to sell pay-per-views.
You wind up putting it right back into the sport, and then an even bigger one comes along, and you just signed a rights package for $7.7 billion for the UFC. We're talking about NFL, NBA, MLB type numbers starting to get into that territory, rights deals that boxing has never had. Do you think it's possible to build a boxing business to that kind of scale?
That's the plan, and you're absolutely right. It's one of my, when I think about the boxing guys, all the boxing guys, all these guys that talk smack and all the dumb stuff that's said, these guys have been in the business for 100 years and none of them have done anything. I've never seen a business where there's been trillions of dollars in revenue, and at the end of the day, there's nothing there because none of them reinvested in the sport of boxing. Every time they put on an event, it's a going out of business sale. We have reinvested hundreds of millions of dollars into the sport of MMA and into the UFC. And yes, we will do the same with boxing.
I mean,
The reaction from the WBC has been nothing short of desperate. Almost immediately after stripping Crawford, they ordered a fight between Hamza Shiraz and Christian Mbili for the now vacant title. They are scrambling to put that belt around someone else's waist to pretend that everything is normal.
It is just regrettable. Not even a thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route. No response. I wish him the best. But this is not. The WBC is huge, it's great, it's about greatness, and I'm relieved, to tell you the truth.
So yeah, you got it over with and you immediately came back with a solution, which is going to be a fight for the vacant title. Hamza Shiraz against Christian Mbili, who we just saw on the Canelo Crawford undercard in that great fight against Lester Martinez. And you put Lester Martinez in position to fight the winner.
Absolutely.
You feel like that's an adequate response? Like this is going to be an entertaining thing for the fight fans?
Yes, it's a great fight, and Billy is very entertaining. He comes forward. Hamza Shiraz just had the best fight of his career, knocking out Berlanga dramatically in New York.
Yeah.
And Lester Martinez had an unbelievable fight with Mbili. He's going to fight the winner. So there's great movement. Whenever Canelo is ready, after his surgery, when he's recovered, he's in the mix. And we have other fighters fighting, so it's going to be great activity in that.
But read the room. Nobody cares. The fans know Crawford is the guy who beat the guy.
The money-making schemes at the end of the day. I personally, listen, anybody that's listened to any of my stuff going forward, I think we could do without sanctioning bodies. I think we could all move forward with just having one champion, one per division. I know that people will come up to me and say, well, more opportunities when there's more belts and all this type of stuff. But at the end of the day, if we get boxing right, opportunities will fall for people. If the WBC played along with their own rules all the time, to the letter, I would probably sit here and have a different opinion. But they don't. They make things up as they go along. For example, the Conor Benn scenario, right? He failed a drug test as per the clean boxing program, which is run by the WBC. The WBC provide Ben with an alternative reason to the one that he gave them, because the one that he gave, if it is true, would open up the WBC to litigation of every single fighter that has ever failed a test and served the ban under the clean boxing program. Conor Benn told him that there was a flaw in the testing process. They said that that's nonsense, so therefore they provided him the excuse of eating too many eggs. Conor Benn never came up with that excuse. That was a WBC reasoning. Also, we've seen this week alone, the WBC 140-pound champion, Subriel Matias. He's failed a drug test. Instead of cancelling an upcoming fight with Dalton Smith, which is coming up in January, he's been allowed to continue because the WBC don't operate strict liability. In 2019, this is an important part of this story. In 2019, a 28-year-old fighter called Maxime Dadyshev died as a result of injuries sustained in a fight with Subriel Matias. This should be investigated massively off the back of the news of him failing a drug test in recent times. Here's the best one, and this has only happened in the last 2 days.
Social media reactions, from Reddit threads to Twitter replies, are overwhelmingly on Crawford's side. People are calling the fee extortion and a robbery. By rushing to crown a new champion who hasn't beaten Crawford, the WBC has turned its prestigious title into a participation trophy inadvertently. They are trying to move on, but in doing so, they've highlighted just how little power they actually have when a superstar decides to stop playing their game.
You told me that 20 years ago at Il Molino, I would think, yeah, but what has this guy done that he thinks he can do that in boxing? But now the track record says, yes, he can do it. You have institutional knowledge of how to do it, and then partnered with Turki Al-Sheikh and Nick Khan, by the way. What I think unites all three of you is you love boxing. Like, all three of you guys love boxing, and is that what brought you guys together? Like, I think of boxing for so long, the power brokers a lot of times didn't even like the sport. Is that the unifying thing here?
Yeah, and everybody hated each other in boxing too. Yeah, it's almost like this was meant to happen. I've been talking about it, saying, you know, I'm kicking the tires, I'm looking at it, timing is everything. And then the way that this whole thing came together, it literally reminds me of every other thing that's happened to me in my life. It's like, this was the time and the place and the right people to make this happen.
So Dan,
We are witnessing a pivotal moment in combat sports history. For decades, the belt was everything. Fighters starved themselves and signed terrible contracts just for the chance to hold that gold. But Terence Crawford just proved that the man makes the belt doesn't make the man.
So I do think the organizations, the sanctioning bodies, have to be a sort of necessary evil, but deals have to come to the table when you're talking about this kind of money, because like Crawford said, he's the one risking his life, he's the one taking the punches. The Ring Magazine title is free. It's the one you don't have to pay for, but it also has no power. There's no fights that are ever enforced by the Ring title. You know, you can't, the Ring, that was always my problem with the Ring title, when even in the days when HBO used to push it and stop mentioning sanctioning bodies by name and all, there was a push in the boxing media. That's why if you notice that era of fighters in the Mayweather era, there wasn't a lot of undisputed champions. It was because the fad of the day, because that's what boxing is. It's just the latest fad. That's what they go by. Today it's just cool. Tomorrow something else is cool. Back then it was uncool to go for the sanctioning body, so you didn't see a lot of undisputed champions at that time. Now the sanctioning bodies have become cool again, so you see more fighters unifying and looking to create undisputed titles. At that time, I remember HBO, ESPN, even with Friday Night Fights, they wouldn't mention the sanctioning bodies by name. They would just go by the Ring Magazine title. And my problem was the Ring Magazine title had no power. You know, it was cool to have, but you could never enforce a 1 and 2 first fight. There was no way to enforce it. And what's worse is they wouldn't strip. They'd never strip if the main guy at the top never fought the number 1 or number 2 guys, you know. So or if you wanted to take a year off and not defend the title at all, they just wouldn't strip them. So I think the Ring title also is problematic, even if it's free, you know. So like I said, I think there's got to be a middle ground where, you know, people have to know how to meet in the middle, and sometimes egos get in the way, and sometimes greed gets in the way.
Well,
If Crawford continues to sell out arenas and break PPV records without the WBC logo on his shoulder, it sets a dangerous precedent for the organizations. Other fighters will start asking, why am I paying 3% or 10% or $300,000 for this trinket? Dana White knows this. That's why he's smiling. He's watching the old boxing world eat itself alive over a few $100,000 while he prepares to pick up the pieces. The undisputed king has spoken, and for the first time in a long time, the sanctioning bodies are the ones trembling. So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.